All right, people. In this video, I'm gonna do a little voiceover over this video because there's a couple of things that I actually want to cover that is pretty significant, and it's a couple of words I may have used that may trip the algorithm. So I want you to pay close attention to this video because it's gonna have a lot of important points here as we go along. I guess we'll make a couple of videos that won't be too long. All right, let's make these we're not gonna make these long-winded, but I promise they won't be too long. Let's start with this one. You ever hear people say that in Jesus' name, in the name of Jesus, and this is the way, when in actuality, when you look at the word name means the way. Okay, and whenever somebody's trying to find the light, okay, they say in the name of Jesus, everything is in the name of Jesus, yet these people still don't know themselves. Give me 1 second. They still don't know themselves, okay? And I'm going to tell you why, because this is going to come down to knowing thyself. And the name, okay, the way is basically your name, okay? Peter, Zigzag, whatever names I associate with is the way. And in order for you to know the way and knowing yourself, rooted out of Christ consciousness, is going to come down to understanding the dark aspects of yourself, the negative natures of yourself. The reason a lot of people are lost, even the people who swear they know where they're at, especially these religious people, is coming down to them just being shown the light. So it's not to say that the dark or the negative, you know, is more powerful or anything like that, because people want to get edgy. It's attractive, right? And they come out with the concept of, you know, the darkness is where the power is at. It's not that there's the power, all right? The only part of this is that it's what you need to complete yourself. That's what it's all coming down to when it. Now here's the thing, even just saying complete yourself is not to say that you're not complete. You are complete. And that's all a recognition. So when I said, for example, they're shown the light, through religion, you're shown what the aspect of the light is. And this is basically looking for it outside of yourself. So it's more of a recognition that you are the light. And you'll recognize this when you actually recognize the darkest shadow aspects of yourself first, because out of darkness comes light. So rather than be shown, you actually realize or recognize that you are the light, that you've been complete the whole time. So things can get lost in words, and I recognize that. That's why I want to make sure that you don't think for any moment that you are not complete. You are absolutely perfect and complete as you are. Okay, but you got to recognize that within yourself. It talks about the dark or the negative natures. You don't know none of this because you were taught through religion to just know about the light. And I'll give you an example of this. They told you to learn only astronomy, but don't delve into astrology. Don't learn about the devil because you'll be influenced by the devil. Or if you start learning about the devil, you'll become the devil. You are what you start to get and delve yourself into. But this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter where you delve yourself into. Don't get lost in it by holding belief systems, and don't get lost in it because if you don't know yourself, where it's basically just neutral, you, the real you, is neutral. You get what I'm saying? There is no polarized aspect to yourself. So this is where the concept of you're in the world but not of it is strongly emphasized here. So yeah, and you'll get lost through it, through emotions. It's how you manage these emotions. This is the important thing. So you're not of the world, so you just basically observe the world like a scientist, like a priest, and also like a student, because you're still gathering information to complete the puzzle that you are, and it's all happening through mirroring aspects of yourself outside of you. So when you start to get to know the real dark aspects of yourself, and I'm going to get into what these things are as far as where people stand on moral systems, which actually when people start to debate, you know, morals, and they start to debate the nature of evil and good, see, this is where we start to go into circular arguments. And I'm going to get into a video where it's going to be basically exposing and demonstrating this on a real level. So in actuality, when you start to meditate now, and you start to, you know, gather yourself, put yourself together, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, like you did, Lucifer's fall, you put yourself back together, Humpty Dumpty. And since you think you're a real boy, you deify that image just like they did with Jesus Christ. You see, they took the name of Jesus, created a golem and egregore out of it because everybody started to believe in it. And I'll start to get into a video where it comes down to the word belief and knowing. See, because the reason certain people would believe something is because they know about it, right? It's like if somebody committed a crime. You would say, well, this person's suspected of being involved in this crime, but you're not for sure because there's no concrete evidence of that person committing that crime. So everybody's innocent until proven guilty, right? But when you know and you have concrete evidence of the crime, there's no longer, I believe he committed the crime. You now say, I know he committed the crime, right? So when you start to say, I believe in God, right? Where does this come from? This knowing. Do you know God, right? And the whole thing is, there's a lot of people who say they've had conversations with God and whatnot. Okay? Do you really believe that? Are you sure? And where is this coming from also? Because at the end of the day, the moment you had that conversation, you didn't realize that that was you, right? And some people say that's a false God. That wasn't the real deity and whatnot. It's just going to be showing you a mirror reflection of what you are, a goddamn fucking liar, right? I'm going to make a video on this topic, which is basically even people who've had near-death experiences and they said that they met Jesus Christ and whatnot. Had a conversation with one of my friends about this also, and in actuality, even out-of-body experiences, astral projections, all that fly shit, it's still part of the same program that you're in here. It's just in a different frequency. When you believe in something so much, your mind will create something to make that tangible for you to understand. See, I've made a video where I've been in realms where I've seen a certain color that I've never seen before, yet the closest color that I can equate that to here in this realm is the color that I categorized it as. It's almost like it morphed into that for me to be able to say, oh, that was that color, because that's the only color I would know. All right. And fear is one hell of a drug. All right. And why did I title that in my last video? Well, I mean, if we really look at it, all right, on a light level, right? People say they don't like fear. They run away from fear, but it's a suspenseful type of fear, right? It keeps you in suspense, and people don't realize this, that they're in this space because they enjoy it at times. Why do you think people go to scary movies or haunted houses and whatnot, right? The only reason you'll engage in it is because you know it's not real, right? But when you're dwelling in the world of the unknown and that fear starts to creep in, or it becomes very real, right? But even that, when you start to look at indulging in the negative or dark aspects of yourself, think about this. There's people who have some dark fetishes, right? And it's funny how when you can watch porn, you can watch movies, you can watch all that shit out, you'll know it's all acting, right? And it turns you on when you watch a see, here I use the R word. I'm gonna basically skip a little bit ahead of that because I don't want to use that word, the R. It's rap with an E at the end, right? But what I was saying was, and I'll use the word grape, but there's people who have fetishes about that, and you'll see this, and some people will get turned on, right? And they'll get turned on because, I mean, they're watching something that's being acted. You're aware that it's acting, but you'll see it. If you see it in real life, you'll defend that person. More than likely you won't stand for that. You'll actually defend the person because you know it's a real scenario, right? So notice how people say that, and this is basically made on a level where it's deep rooted in you. If you're really disconnected from yourself, you'll start to act these things out in real life. Like you've seen like these famous criminals, like I forgot their name, but they're pedophiles, and people who've acted out these fantasies, it's all from a sexual, lustful space because they didn't have any awareness of their animalistic root chakra. And I've made videos on this when it came down to, the cats and how we spay and neuter them. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to spay and neuter yourself, are you? I mean, the cats, for example, since I've fixed them, it's much more delightful having them around because they're not fighting. They're just totally different animals. They're a lot more docile, more calm. Here, for instance, humans who don't have their root chakras under their dominion, then you may, on a light level, let's say, be over lustful, over sexualized, engage in masturbating a lot. You may see this illusion of competition between you and everybody else, the illusion of separation, greediness. If it's not balanced there, then you'll have an illusion of poverty, where you think there isn't enough. Where if you have a balanced root chakra, you'll know that you'll always have an abundant mindset because at the root core of it, you're an abundant person. So even if you had $1 million, you'd gain it again because that's just what you are. So, you have root stocks, right? And then you graft a tree on it. But the roots is basically what determines what comes out of that fruit, out of that tree or that plant, whatever, what kind of fruit you get. So it's the same thing. You have to have a balanced root chakra. You can be very successful, but then again, when you become very successful and you have, in other words, no religion or no spirituality or no, concept of unity between you and everybody else, it's just a mindset that you've acquired to basically gain success here, whatever that means to an individual here in this realm. But think about this though: when you die, you don't take none of that with you. What do you truly take with you, and what is true abundance then? All right, what is it that you actually take with you, and what do you leave as a legacy for everybody else? Because if it's money runs out. Money's limited. And if somebody who has a poverty mindset gains your riches, I mean, they can lose it right away. So I'm gonna fast forward this because I don't wanna have that word used here. We'll just go there. Like, let's say it happening in real life, then you wouldn't stand for it, right? You would actually defend the girl because you know that it's a real situation. But when it's in a movie and it's acted out and whatnot, I mean, there's people who are into like humiliation acts. There's people who are into all that kind of shit. Yeah, I used the word again here, so I'm gonna fast forward it. There's things that when you look at, you look at it in real time. Like you can watch, things acted out. So let's say this is what I was going to say before, but when you act out your fantasies, you're acting them out, right? But I'm going to make the point here. Let me just see where I'm at. I like to do it at the first take, not have to basically repeat what I said because it doesn't come out the same way. Analyze later on in life, why did that thrill me? Why did that catch my attention, right? Because if I saw a girl getting beat up in real life, I'm gonna fucking stand up for her. I'm not gonna fucking take that on. But then there's people who are so disconnected with themselves, and this is probably one of the most important points I'm gonna make in this video, that they will go beyond the acting part, right? They'll actually go and act it out for real. But look at the words we use. They say that this person is very dark and has all these fetishes, but they went and acted out these fantasies and either raped the girl in real life or they may have sex. See, here's that's what I'm talking about, but I mean, it is what it is. The word came out once. We'll just leave it there as is. Life or essayed, what? And think about this though. They acted this out in real life, right? Now think about this though. Everything you're doing here on this world is all acting, right? It's all an act. who's really in charge of your reality though? Because if you're not in charge of your mind, okay, you will be acting these things out, but you'll think that it's really you actually experiencing these things as far as acting these things out, and they're so uncontrollable that you associated with it so much that you think that you're the one that committed these crimes. This is why it's very, very important to get to know thyself. And how do you get to know thyself, right? First of all, you observe that you have these fetishes. You don't just, put them in the closet and say, I don't know, that's bad. I was told that's bad, so I'm just gonna forget about it. That's not on my mind, right? No, I mean, if you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they're gonna make you admit before you get help that, hey, my name is such and such, and I'm an alcoholic, right? So then you get to a point where you start to say, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Now, you'll walk around with this label for an extended period of time saying that you're a recovering alcoholic. When in actuality, how long are you going to actually say that you're a recovering alcoholic though? How long are you going to go along with that before you actually say, I am not an alcoholic? That reality doesn't exist, nor did it ever exist. I'm a different person now. That person that I once was, that actually had that alcoholic addiction, no longer exists. I am not that person. So in other words, that past technically doesn't exist for me. Now this is actually, you can debate and argue this because, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who go to court and they claim psychosis and actually get out of crimes, right? Because they weren't in control of their actions. Actions acted out, right? On the main stage, you're the main actor. But don't forget, the mirror aspects of yourself outside of you that are holding you accountable for being conducive in society is what you designed and structured yourself. And the moment you go against that, you became Satan. Because the word Satan means adversary. And don't forget, everybody's Satan. Everybody's Satan. Satan, get behind me. Tina, get behind me. What's in front of you is basically what we would say Lucifer. And here, let's get edgy. Is that even the real name? Is Lucifer, was that at its origins, is that really the name? Huh? Because we start to use these names. You were given these names and you say that this is the name, but do you know that? What is the way? Huh? So basically, I say belief is a superpower. It is a superpower because the falling, you were given that by someone else and you believed it. It's no different than just being a sheep herd mentality, a weak farm animal, and that's it. I mean, we need those in the world. In order for you to know what true gods are here, you have to have those sheeps. In order for you to know what good is, you have to have bad. How could you contrast and say this is good if there's no bad, right? But don't forget, what you're categorizing as what you would consider bad for yourself is only bad because it's bad for you. The only objective reality here is your human body. You're a man. You got a dick. There's no changing that. You are a man. That's an objective reality. This is why the truth is the human body, and this is why I say the human body is God. And God projects the reality, which makes everything outside of itself God. What the fuck do these monkeys argue about online? I really don't fucking get it. I had the conversation with the devil. I felt different energies. You get what I'm saying? But God had to be the witness. The same way when if I talk to God, the devil has to be the witness. There has to be a witness. Right? I'm unbiased. I'll stand neutral right in the middle. You are the way. You were given that name, or was you the one that actually assigned that name to you? What is the assignment for you? Huh? We'll talk soon.